What is up, YouTube family? T.O. here, Simplistic Fishing, back at you tonight. We are finishing up Lake Ray Roberts for the Google Earth waypoints. We got quite a bit of stuff to cover tonight, but I think we can finish it out and hopefully wrap this thing up. And then we're going to switch over to the offshore hotspots. So next week, when you guys see it or whatever the next day is that I post this thing, it'll be for the offshore hotspots. We'll do the same thing. We'll go all the way around the lake and see what we can find from an offshore perspective. But before we do that, we got to wrap up this Google Earth waypoint stuff and see what we can find. Stick around. Got some good stuff for you. Let's go ahead and let's jump into this thing. So if you've never seen any of my lake breakdowns before, on the KML side, on the Google Earth side, what we do is we break it down over here on the left-hand side by just really however the lake sets up. So in this example, I've got a couple different things I here. I've got offshore hotspots. So if you just wanted to fish the offshore hotspots that we have marked here for you, these are going to be brush piles that are out there, contour lines we've marked, ledges, humps, things like that, things that are primary fish attractors, things that should hopefully get you on some fish. We've got all those marked. We've got all the creek channels marked. You can see here, they're all over the place. Those are super cool to fish. And that is like one of the things I love about doing this is it makes fishing creek channels so much more easier. Ponds as well. I've got all the ponds marked, different rock formations and things like that you should consider when you're out there fishing, debris and cover. That's going to be your laydowns and stuff like that. And then, of course, last but not least, all the different boat ramps that are out there. So let's go ahead and start it off today. Last time when we went out there, I'm going to take off this offshore stuff because we don't need that. But last time when we started off right here by this bridge up here. Actually, we ended at the bridge right here, right at this boat ramp. So I'm going to pull the date back to 2014. It's going to be our best image right there. And I'm going to move this over so we can see a little bit better. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So again, we ended right there on the rock. You can see some pretty good scattered rock going on in here. And you guys have heard me talk about that before. Using a wobble head and when that rock is scattered like that really, really works well. So give that a try if you're over there. Maybe throw a wobble head around some of that stuff. That scattered rock, you might have some pretty good luck there. And as we get up in here, just like the rest of the lake, tons of timber. So you're going to have to be super careful. But if we back into here, you can see there's just a couple different key points. So right in here, we get a little bit of rock where there's a lot of scattered rock, but right here, this rock gets really chunky and really heavy. You can see there's a little pond back there, but I think I pulled the water up. And when I did that, I believe, let's go ahead and do that again. When I did it, yeah, it doesn't. The water doesn't come up high enough to go over that. So couldn't mark that pond dam for you. Let's go back to 2014. Let's keep moving up. So as I move up this bank line, the next thing that I found was right up in here. And you can see we got a pretty good transition line going on right here as well. But there's a really big laydown that's right here too. So you got one right here. You got some standing timber and stuff. So pretty good area right in here. If you can get back in there, that's going to be the key. Also right up here, we got some more laydowns that are here. That one's a pretty good size one. And then if we get back in here, of course, we've got some riprap that's back here. And there's got to be some kind of a little ditch, something that's right in here. But I can't see it with Google Earth, but you can tell, that water comes from here to here. So there's some kind of ditch or something underneath there. So I can see that being a real good spot right in there. All right, as we move further up, we got another one of these pond dams. You guys have heard me talk about pond dams. We've done really good on the pond dams, like out of Richland Chambers. That's one of my favorite lakes to fish, the pond dams. But this is another one where we got a really good pond dam here. I can see this being effective, not only on the back side of the pond dam and this side, but also right here. Right here, we have that little funnel, that little pinch point. That is a really good area to go and take a look at. All right, so I'm going to zoom back out here, keep moving on up. As we move up here, they got all these little ponds that are just right there close to the bank line, but they're just not accessible. Also right up in here, you got some rocks. If I zoom in here, you can see just kind of little piles of rock just right here on the shoreline. And then we've got another little pile that's right in here as well. So let's look at that when it's pulled up to say 2018, you would have no idea there was a rock pile there. That rock looks like it's going to be in pretty good depth for you. 2016, kind of the same thing. And finally 2014, we're in the drought. You can see it. Moving up here, same type thing. Just a lot of dirt, stuff like that. But then you've got these little random rocky points, and you know that fish are going to collect on those things because there's no rock anywhere else around. It's just those little spots. So I'm going to keep moving up. Didn't see too much in here, maybe a little pond right there, but it wasn't defined enough for me to really mark it for you. A bunch of junk, lots of timber and stuff to fish around, stuff like that, but just nothing I could really mark for you. Did get back in here, and there is a pond. Now, getting in here might be a little bit tricky. Looks like your entryway is obviously back in here. But pretty good looking pond. Looks like it's got some pretty good depth. The dam on the backside looks like it's got some pretty good drop offs. Looks like you might have some stick ups and some brush right here on the top of the dam. So I could see this one being pretty decent. If I pulled up 2018, you wouldn't really know all that stuff was there. Man, you could really run your boat into some pretty shallow water there. But go check that one out. That one looks pretty cool. Let's get back here to 2014. We'll look at it again. Looks like you might even have a little ditch or something coming on here. I don't know what this is. Maybe it's coming out of that pond there, like an overflow from that pond that goes underneath this road. You can kind of see it through the trees as it weaves its way around. I think what I'm going to do is I'll probably just, I was going to mark a creek channel there, but I don't know if it's good enough to mark it. But anyways, check that out. Check out that pond. I really like that area. And then as we move further back in here, we've got some major creek channels. So I went ahead and marked those for you guys. They're marked right here. If we go down here, this one was a little more interesting. You had to kind of follow the tree lines, and that kind of showed you where the creek channel was. I think in 2012, I was thinking maybe we had a better image here in 2012. I might have to go back further. Anyways, follow that creek channel. That's going to be the creek channel. And you'll know you're in the creek channel just by looking around the trees, because the trees kind of just follow that creek channel. You've also got a couple other ones that are right in here. I don't see anything, that really sticks out to me on these creek channels. I would say, go fish that exact spot. Maybe right in here, right where this little big turn is. You got a couple different turns there. But when we get up here, this starts looking pretty interesting up in here. Now you get a lot more defined creek channel, some stuff you could flip around. I could see that being pretty decent. Also, this little creek channel here, this one's not as significant as the other one. The other one's more like a little river. But this one's got a pretty decent channel to it. Again, I think the challenge here on Ray Roberts is just getting back in the back of some of this stuff. Get back to 2018. This is what it's going to look like. It's going to look totally different than what I just showed you. So that creek channel is not nearly as obvious as what we were just looking at from back in 2014. So this area right in here could be some primo stuff to get into in that creek channel, because again, you're a little ways out there and you're coming off that mouth of that creek channel. So I really like that. All right. So I'm going to move this back to 2014. We're going to keep moving down. On this side, we've got a lot of different stuff around here. Obviously you can see where that creek channel goes through those trees, but over here, you've got some rock that's over here off this tip. You've got some laydowns and stuff. This looks like an interesting point, and if you look at it, it's got like a straight tree line. And I always like, I guess I'm going to say like edges. Like if you can find edges or straight lines within the lake, whether it be with a dock or a post or whatever it is, if you can find those straight lines, typically the fish will set up on those. So when you see a tree line that's just straight like that, fish down the edges of those tree lines and see what you can find. That one looks good. Coming off a point, the tree line comes right out into the creek channel. All right, so we got some more down here. We got some debris, got some more laydowns down here. Got a pond down here, but I don't think when the water's up, it's going to be tough to get back into that pond. That pond's going to be super shallow. Don't know if you'd even be able to get your boat back there. You might be able to pitch something back there and see if there's something back in there, but probably not going to be too much of a pond you can fish. Again, as we get further down in here, just some different things, some debris there off the point. Got some pretty big laydowns back in here you could check out. Those look pretty good. And then as we move down in here, this gets real interesting in this area, because you got these ponds and you got these channels and stuff like that. You got all kinds of good stuff. Like down in here, this looks like just good cover to fish around. I don't know if these are stick ups or what they are. It could be grass as well. It's hard to say, but this area right in here could be really good, especially in the springtime. You've also got a really good pond dam right here. And if I zoom into it, you can see it's got a super good ledge on it, like real good ledge, or that edge that we were talking about earlier. You got one right there. That one looks really good. Also, if you move further out here, you've got a little bit of a rock pile that's going on top of this little hump here. So that one looks interesting too. And then as we move further up here, good little spawning pocket here. Lots of timber, so you got to be careful. But getting back in here, you got a pretty good little creek channel that you could follow. And again, it's facing northward, so it's going to be protected by the northerly winds. So I could see that being a good spot in the springtime. Also, back in here, got a good pond dam. So you can tell, I think that's a boat. Maybe that's a tree. I think that's a tree. Never mind. I thought it was a boat. I was like, well, he knows there's a good spot there. And I just missed this, but look at this laydown that's right here. That one looks pretty juicy. So go check that out. Check out that pond dam. That pond dam looks really good. So does that other one that we looked at a minute ago. Getting back in here, you can see they just got a lot of cover in these little pockets you can get back into. So go check those out. A little more here. Get out in here. I didn't mark this, but if I'm out here fishing, if you can go underneath this, I can't tell if you can go underneath this or not. And I've never fished Ray Roberts. Actually, never mind. I can tell now you cannot go underneath it because it looks like, I was thinking if you could go underneath this would be a great little pinch point, but it looks like it stops right here. I can see the concrete right there. So you got to go over here to get around it. So never mind. So I take that back, but I would fish right in here, right around this little slab right in here where that concrete is, just because there's no other concrete in the area. And all of this, all this riprap or whatever you want to call this in this area would be a good spot. All right, so moving on up, just kind of scrolling up the bank line. I didn't see too much until you get in these little spots where there's just this little scattered rocks. So they're going to collect in those areas. At some point in time, these are going to be great areas to go look at. This one's kind of, off of a little, you could almost call it like a little secondary point here before it gets back into this pocket. So maybe look right in here and see if you can find anything relating to that rock. There's no rock in the area at all. So that'd be a really good spot to look. You got the bridges here as well. And you got a little creek channel that you could go up and work around those trees, things like that. That goes way back up in there. I'll show you guys how far that goes. So that could be a fun little trip, getting back up in there and just following that creek channel. And then moving down here, kind of coming back down in the west bank, we just got some scattered rocks. So you just got a little bit of pile here. You can tell the landscape's changing a little bit. There is rock pretty much everywhere, but this is almost like a pile that I marked here. Again, here as well, you got a pretty good laydown that's out here with the rocks. So that could have some potential. A little bit further down, you just got some more laydowns. Nothing too special coming down this bank line that really caught my eye until we got a little bit further down here. And then you'll see it here in a second. We got a good little pond that's down here. Like that pond too. That pond looks like it sets up pretty good. It's actually probably got some pretty good depth because this is with the water down and I can barely see the top of that pond dam. So with the water up, that thing's definitely going to be completely submerged. You're not going to know that it's out there. So fishing right in there, that could be really good. You got a pond dam and then you've also got a point. So two good things going on right there in that one little area. Moving down here, you got some high spots and things like that. And I was hoping that I would get out here and look at these high spots and see these rock piles or brush piles or something like that on them. But I really didn't see anything. This one out here, though, it does have some debris on it. So you definitely want to come check this out. I thought I had marked that. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that one again because we definitely got some really good debris that's out there. And I can see this being a great offshore spot for you guys. So definitely go out and check that one out. That one looks really good. In fact, you've even got this little ledge that comes over here, and I don't know what that is, but what I'll do is I'll go ahead and mark this after this video, and I'm just probably going to put like a circle or something around this whole area, and I'm just going to make this an offshore spot. So, in fact, let's just go ahead and do that right now so that you guys can see what it will look like on your graph. I'm going to make it super easy for us because when I go out there, I want the same thing. And so what I'm going to do here is I will just mark this. We'll just call this offshore for now. And so when you guys see it on your graph, it will be a track. It'll be the only track on there that's out there in the middle of the water. But it'll be cool because now you're going to know exactly where you need to be fishing. And I can tell you this right here is probably a community spot because it has so much debris and it's out there in the open like that. But go check that out. That's what it's going to look like on your graph. And of course, I'll change the debris to be the right go put it in the right spot and be the right icon. But go check that out right there. I thought I did that earlier, but that spot right there, from an offshore standpoint, that's going to be a pretty good spot. All right, so let's keep going. Again, up in here, we've got this creek channel that's up in here that you can see. That one's pretty good, and like that one. Also over in here, we've got another creek channel that's down in here. We got a pretty good pond dam that's over here too. So the pond dam's right in here. And I believe someone has bought, today is December the 18th, and I believe someone has bought the Ray Roberts card already because we have had it out there on the site. So those of you guys that did buy the card before December the 18th, that spot's not going to be on there. But if you guys need it, holler at me. I can send you a new card, or what we can do is I can just send you the file, or you just know by looking at this video, you can go out there and mark it yourself. But just be aware, I thought that was there. My apologies. It was missing, but it will be there on all the new cards moving forward. So I guess while I'm talking about the cards, go out, check out my site, simplisticfishing.com. I've got Ray Roberts out there, but I've also got a ton of other lakes out there with these types of breakdowns. So it's really going to change the way you fish. It's changed the way I fished. I enjoy it, and we've sold a ton of cards. So I know it's helping out a lot of other people as well. So go check it out, simplisticfishing.com. Let's keep moving on down. We got the pond dam that's right here. This one looks good. And actually the outside edge of this pond dam looks better than the inside edge. The outside edge looks like it's got some pretty good drop to it. And then you got a really good pinch point that's right in there as well. Then moving down here, we got just some scattered rock that's going on around this bank line. Not anything too impressive, but there's just nothing around it. So, again, getting out there with a wobblehead, a shaky head, a worm, Texas rig, something like that, that could be pretty effective right there in that area. You're just going to need to concentrate just around that rock. Moving down here, we got just, you can see it, the real straight line here. This looks like it's like a rock wall or something like that. You can see it right here. Real nice straight line, great edge. Everything about it looks good. So go check that out. It may actually come out here too. I can't see it. It disappears right here off of this point, but could have rock even this far out. I'm not sure, but definitely right in there. That looks like a good spot to set up on. As you move further back in here, you've got a little road bed that came back in here, but when I looked at it, I didn't see a lot of rock around it, so I didn't really mark it. But this creek channel right here looks really good, especially right here and right here. Look at the ledge that creek channel has dug out in the land. So right in here, or even up in here, sometimes they'll get up in here and feed, and then they'll pull back down here. So just this whole area, you need to check out this whole area for sure. That's going to be a good spot to look. And you know what? I didn't even see it right there, but it looks like there may even be like a little culvert there. So be super careful in that area as well, because you do not want to hit that culvert, but you want to fish around it. So fish around it, but don't hit your boat on it. How about that? So I'll go ahead and mark that one too, so we have that one on the points. Moving on down here, we've got another culvert or a bridge that you can see. So I marked that one for you. That looks pretty cool right in there. Got a little creek channel in here, but I had to be careful on how many creek channels I marked. I could only do 50 tracks, so I ended up not marking that one. But I think you should really concentrate. Most of your stuff should be concentrated right here on this bridge, or come down here and fish around the edge right here where this creek channel kind of swings right in here. Now, if we look on the edge of this pond, we've got a real good rock pile right here. That one looks juicy. If I pull the lake up again, that's gonna be a little bit further out. That is a perfect looking rock pile to go fish. So go check that one out. Really like that one. Yes, if you can get back there. Again, these places are tricky. I don't know if there's boat lanes out there for Ray Roberts. If there are, let us know, guys. Put it down in the comments. Yes, there's boat lanes out here for Ray Roberts, because I hope there are, because if not, you'd be idling everywhere you go. But lots of juicy stuff to fish in this lake for sure. We got another pond that's over here. So real good pond that I marked. Look at the ledges on the side of these ponds. I mean, some of these are really good. So go check out the ponds, especially if you're on the pond pattern. I mean, we got plenty of them marked for you for sure. We've got another little rock wall that's kind of built in here. So you could go check out that with a little bitty ditch that's coming off the side of it. It looks pretty interesting. Moving up here, you start getting into a little bit of scattered rock and stuff like that. You can see boats out there fishing it. So pretty much all this area, you've got the scattered rock, but right in here, it gets a little bit thicker. just right in this little area. And I like the fact that you got these little pockets that are in here. So you got a little pocket there, a little pocket there. So go check out that area if you're fishing around those rocks. And then we get out of there, we kind of get into the get into no man's land out here until we get back out here around this boat parking. And when we get down in here, we start getting into more rocks. We got more rock again. This looks good. Little isolated area with the rock. It's right there by the ramp, so you could literally just fish right there. You know, they probably have tournaments that maybe they let fish out, people letting fish out the ramp. So right in this area is going to be a good spot to look at. You got some more rock right in here. And then as you move further off to the other side of it, you've got rock in here, but here you got a little point that comes out. So I really like this little point, real close to that boat ramp. All kinds of rock in here and rock in here. So just that whole area right there by the boat ramp is good. Basically, if you fish from here to about here, you could spend a lot of time right in that area and probably have some pretty good success. All right, so then moving over here, we've got another little rock pile that comes off this point. You can see where it's just scattered rock. Pull in here and show it to you guys. They're just like random spots. That's what I love about them. Also right in here, same type thing. Just random little hard spot. And then moving back in here, we get into a ton of stuff. And we're actually going to finish this thing up today. So we're almost done with this lake. So let's just keep moving forward. We're going to fight it out and get this thing done. And then we're going to move over to the offshore hot spots on our next video. So over in here, we've got a foundation we can take a look at. We've also got another rock pile in here. Another rock pile in here with a roadbed. So really like this, like an old pond here. Here's your old roadbed. And then you got this rock that's kind of set up on the side of the roadbed. If I pull this back, let me pull this back a little bit, pull that back to 2017. That's juicy right there. That's a good looking spot to go fish. And again, it's right by a boat ramp. So if you're launching there at that boat ramp, you don't have to go very far at all to go and find you a really good spot. You could launch here. You got this right here that you could fish, the foundation. You got rock here. You got some debris that comes off this point. This looks really good, like a little foundation or something coming off there. That whole point looks good. It's got rock, scattered rock everywhere. Got a little rock pile right here by the boat ramp. You know, all kinds of tires you can come over here and flip. We got tires here again. You know, rock off of this point that looks good. This area, it's like everywhere, every time we get by a boat ramp, we start seeing all kinds of great stuff to fish around. Again, right in here, we've got some really good rock. We've got brush that's back in here that you can take a look at. This looks really, really good as well. Some laydowns. May even have an old pond dam back in there too that you could check out. And then as we move further down, just more tires. Again, another ramp, couple ramps back here, and some laydowns and some debris that you can see back here. Some really interesting stuff back in here. This debris looks really thick. Got a little creek channel that comes maybe back in there that you could check out as well. So some really good stuff in there. And then if you get down in here, we got some really heavy rock that gets right in this area. It's like right around where this, I don't know if this is a pond or what this is, but that spot in there looks interesting as well. We talked about that rock there, and then we talk about this little random rock pile that's right in here as well. That one looks good too, off that little point. You know, of course, that point looks good too. But like I said, you get around those boat ramps, starts getting super, super interesting. And then, guys, the last spot that I want to show you for Ray Roberts before we switch over to the offshore stuff on the next video is going to be right down here at the end. I didn't see too much going on this bank line. Not saying this isn't a good bank line, just wasn't much to mark for you guys. When we get right out here, you can see that there's some rock that's right off the edge of this little point that comes out here. So definitely go in here, check out this rock and all that stuff in there. I think you're going to have some pretty good luck in that spot as well. So that finishes up for Ray Roberts for the Google Earth waypoints. Really appreciate you guys sticking around and watching the video. Make sure to go check out the site, simplisticfishing.com. Get all these waypoints for you, plus all the other lakes we have out there as well. Until next time, guys, hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.